All right, we are live stream. It's Thursday afternoon. It's a slow day in real estate, and I have a new perspective on real estate that I'm going to share with you here today. So welcome. If you're watching on replay, if you come back into the replay, please comment down below. I'll try and get back to as many of those comments as I possibly can. And of course, I guess I should put it in the chat right now. Do you have any questions about the market? Let's find out if people have any questions about the market. Okay, so here's a perspective I have on the marketplace right now, because we are fairly busy in the market. Our team is quite busy, and that is not the only thing that's changed. My big perception change on the market is actually right where I am right now. So welcome. If you're new to the channel, this is a brand new setup in studio that I have for you. Hopefully it sounds good, looks good, and you're going to see a whole lot of videos about local Surrey real estate here from this perspective. And if you'd like, just go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Stay up to date on the Surrey, Fraser Valley, Canadian real estate market. And then I can share with you the perspectives that I do have in the market. So I'm just going to run through some things here for you so you can kind of see what we've been dealing with out there in the marketplace right now. The doom and gloom is there. It's hit the news now. It's finally hit the news cycle. It's deep within the news cycle at the moment. And I think they're late to the party. I think we went through doom and gloom. And now we are starting to see quite what I would consider to be a very regular-ish market. And I'll tell you what I mean by regular-ish market. This week, my team has, just within the last little bit, we've listed 3 properties, which is great. Properties still coming to the market. But we're also now receiving offers. Just yesterday, our team received 3 different offers on 3 different properties. One almost went into multiple offers. And we are seeing that our listings that are getting offers are usually getting more than 1 offers, but not in like this multiple offer situation that you would think. I see some people commenting. So if you're here, there's 13 people here right now. So lay in some comments. I'll get to them here shortly. So we are seeing offers, but it's kind of going like this. I want to give you real life, because I've had this happen on multiple properties over the last 3 or 4 weeks now. We come to the market. We get lots of showings because we're price aggressive. I tell my clients, educate them well. They price aggressively to sell. We get some offers, and then often we get an offer. It'll be 2, 3, 4, 5 days on the market. We get an offer. It's a very low offer. That very low offer then usually gets countered. So the seller goes, okay, I appreciate your offer. I'm not going to go that low, but we'll counter it back and forth. So then it goes back and forth a few times. And this has happened, I kid you not, multiple times over the last month. In the middle of an offer going back and forth between the buyer and our seller, and back and forth, a second offer comes in from another buyer. Sometimes that second offer is higher, sometimes it's not. But whatever it is, the property has always, there's only probably 3 listings, but the property each time has sold for more than one of the previous counter offers that the seller countered back to a buyer. If that totally makes sense. So we had an offer come in, it was low, we countered it back, we got counter back, and then say you've come down 10 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand, whatever it is off your ask price. Then a second offer comes in, we go into multiple offers, and either that first buyer that was trying to get a better deal or the new buyer, one of them comes back to the table at higher than the last counter. So it's these buyers that are really trying to grind on the market. You can't blame them for grinding on the market right now. Sometimes it's turning around to shoot them in the foot if they're looking at the good properties. So consider that. So I'm going to pop into some comments here. So please make sure to type in your comments. And I just wanted to give that perspective on the market. Like it's moving. We've got, we had some properties that got offers that didn't get accepted. We had some properties that got offers that didn't get accepted. And then the seller goes, well, I'm not going to take that low, but I will reduce my price. More often than not, though, we're getting some places together. Maybe I should walk you around my studio here in a bit. Steve, I'm also a blue belt. Where do you train? I am not a blue belt. I am a white belt still. I'm hoping to be a blue belt one of these years, but I'm not there. I've been training for about 2 years at a little gym in Cloverdale. So hopefully I get that. Oh, it's called a Ishindu. So Ishindu Dojo, check it out. I highly recommend it. BJJ is one of the coolest, funnest things I've ever done. It's also the hardest thing. But I wish I was a blue belt. I'm not a blue belt. Also, I realized when you start in BJJ and you see the blue belts and they kick your butt, and then you get close to being one, and now you've seen some guys get to blue belt, it's like, oh, they don't actually know that much. It's still a beginner stage. I'm looking forward to sucking at blue belt as well as I suck at white belt. I think we can talk about business on the mat. There's not much talking on the mat when you're getting strangled. Okay, let's go to another comment. You mentioned you were looking to buy a property investment. Are you still considering it? In Ontario, I see lower and lower prices and increasing inventories. So here's an internal struggle that I'm with right now between myself and my wife is, do we take advantage of this market and buy an investment property, or do we take advantage of this market and move up our principal residence? It's a really tough call. The principal residence is tax-free when you go to sell it. So there's a massive tax benefit there. Plus, it might just be time to move within the next few years. If we don't do that, it will definitely be buying an investment property. If you're looking at investment properties right now, I do think there's massive opportunity out there compared to where we have been. The problem is they're still not cash flowing at 20%. There are some that are coming close, but they're not cash flowing at 20%. And yes, prices are going to go lower and lower. Inventory is going to probably continue to climb, particularly if you're in Ontario, Toronto condos. And that's going to make everyone hesitate to buy until whenever the market turns around, and then everybody will jump back in. So people are definitely sheeple, and they will definitely wait until the market turns around, so they think it's good, and they'll wait too long. They won't get a good deal if you're looking for an investment property. There's opportunity out there right now. Like, let me see if I can. Here we go. Can show you what's going on here. So here is Fraser Valley pricing. I believe this is detached. Let's take you to apartments if you were looking for an apartment in the Fraser Valley. And let's go back 10 years. I mean, in theory, as long as you bought, say, pre-November 21, you're probably still making money. That being said, I was actually just discussing this with a team member. We are seeing some peak pricing Wally condos, not peak pricing 22, but peak pricing before that, which was 2018, selling at the same rate as now. So there are some condos out there, if you bought in an investor-heavy area, that are now basically you're 7 years down the road, and you've seen no appreciation over that time. That's my argument for avoiding those dense areas. Personally, when I buy an investment property, I've always bought them in low-rise, less dense areas, so I don't have a bunch of competition. So consider that. Let's see if I can switch this and also show you Wally, which is our investor-heavy area here in Surrey. And then you can see that, yeah, prices are coming down a little bit faster in Wally than other areas. They also went up faster in Wally than other areas because it was an investor-driven marketplace. So, yeah, I'm always considering property. I believe in it. I always will. I don't say buy a pre-sale or anything like that. Buy a good property that's already standing. That's my thought. Hi, Steve. Are the offers mostly from first-time home buyers or investors? Thank you. You're welcome. very few investor offers right now just because those numbers don't make sense. Some investors, we've sold some investors this year. A real popular product still is what we call a coach home here in Surrey. So you'll have like a very small lot with a 3 or 4 bed house with the basement suite, and it's also got a rental over top of the garage in the back. Those are still very, very popular for investors. The condo market is what's lost steam. But believe it or not, if you've watched some of the videos lately on the channel, the detached market is actually the one with the most amount of inventory right now across the Fraser Valley and definitely within Surrey. So that marketplace, I think, is in tough. Like you can actually get some, for a marketplace that was like you couldn't get into a detached house under 1.4, I'm starting to see some 1.1 sales of detached houses. Now, they might not be in the best areas. They might not be at the biggest lots in the house you want. But to consider that townhouses are very close to $1 million for the cost of your strata fee, you may be able to get into a detached property. You just might not like the school district that your kid ends up in. First-time home buyers, yes, absolutely. So lots of first-time home buyers for a percentage. I wouldn't say lots of first-time home buyers, but a lot of first-time home buyers that are able to get into the market with only one salary, which is, in my estimation, a positive. So what I mean by that is if it's probably a good thing for the market that a 28-year-old to 32-year-old single person, even though that's pretty old, but not these days, I guess. But let's say a 27, 28-year-old single person can get into an apartment on their own without needing a spouse or a roommate or anything like that. We are seeing that happen. And I think it's a good thing for the market. I think it's a really good thing for the market. There are some abilities out there for people to get out of rentals. I'm also seeing some really good like rentals. I'm talking to a lot of people who have very affordable rents, and they're like, well, why would I ever buy? Because I have this affordable rent. And that's a hard argument to go against. If you just are worried about the cash flow each month and you think you can invest your money elsewhere, great. If you don't want to have that knock on the door one day and your tenant or your landlord come in and say, by the way, you got to move, and you're going from this $1,300 a month rent to $2,800 a month, that's the upside of owning your own home. You look weird without purple eye. Black eye, I think, technically. But yeah, thank you. My black eye, my third jiu-jitsu black eye, which you're not supposed to get black eyes in jiu-jitsu, has now cleared up. Nice studio. Thank you. Missing the cat. You're not missing the cat. The cat made it. The cat is here. Maybe I'll give you a quick tour of the studio. So the cat made it. Make sure that's not too glossy. Fake plant, of course. This, if you've never seen it before, is Lowen-McKinnon. It's basically a Scotch whiskey that they can't call Scotch whiskey that is distilled in North Surrey at the brewery up there. It's great. It's my favorite flavor from there. It's called the chocolate malt, and when they sell it to you, they're very interested to make sure that you know that it's not chocolate flavored, that it's chocolate malt, meaning more reflective of the color of the product as opposed to the actual taste. And then my favorite books up here, one of them is The Road Less Stupid, which is not actually a very good book, but it's an amazing title, so it's there. And then the best book I've ever read, They Ask You Answer, which is all why I do this. You know, if I give good information, hopefully when you need help, you will reach out to us. You will say, yes, Steve, I need help. You look like you know what you're talking about here in the Surrey, Fraser Valley, Greater Vancouver Marketplace. They book a call, and then I get business that way. Keep my face off of bus benches everywhere. Although it might look cool to have my ugly mug doing one of those stupid thumbnails on a bus bench. Maybe I should try that somewhere. Let's go back. Hey, Steve, how low do you think rents will go approximately with mass inventory of condos? How low will rents go? Percentage-wise? Oh, let's talk actual dollars. We were seeing bachelors in Surrey Rent for is about 1600. One beds went up to about 1900, as high as 2100. And then two beds were kind of hitting that. No, this is apartments, not basement suites. Apartments, two beds they went from about 2200, and I've saw them up as 26, 27, 2800. At this point in time, I think a two bed's probably down to 23. Do I see that going to keep sinking? I don't know. Everything is down, definitely. Like the one beds are definitely below, I think, 1700 now. We don't work in this space. We're not actually rental agents. So I can just tell you from what I'm seeing on listings and that sort of thing. Do I think they're going to keep tanking? No. There's definitely a difference, though, I must say, in the tenant pool than there was before. So I've been a landlord since, I think I was a landlord for the first time in 2011, 2012. And the tenancy pool has changed dramatically. If you want to be a landlord in Surrey, Lower Mainland, anywhere, you better get used to applications from very large, new to Canada families. So you're getting like, one bedrooms, minimum 3 people applying, 2 bedrooms, sometimes 4 to 7 people applying, which is crazy to me. You're not my tenant, by the way. Sorry. You might be in whatever situation you're in. I'm not taking you on as my tenant. And we're actually seeing negatives in sales, because if there's buildings that don't have restrictions on occupants, which is crazy to me, that they'll actually sell for more, because you are seeing like refugee families from war-torn countries coming, and there's 6 or 7 people. It is kind of crazy, so it's a different tenant pool. When I look for a tenant, here's what I look for. I apologize in advance if I offend anybody here, but I do not want a foreign student. I do not want a college student. I don't want a student as a tenant, because a student doesn't have a job. I want somebody with a good job. I want somebody with good credit. I want somebody that people say, oh, I want to be near the train. I want to buy an investment property and then I'll get a student and they can use the train. No, I want a tenant that has a car and the ability to pay the bills and a good job and lots of credit. So in that respect, I definitely, I think I'm probably a little bit different. So it is, I do think as long as you have not increasing immigration and still a flood of inventory coming for completions of new properties for the next year or two, we're going to have downward pressure on rent. And then eventually, inevitably, when the building doesn't get built anymore, because there's no new launches happening right now, there's not a lot of new product going to be built in 4, 5, 6 years, inevitably it's going to turn back around the other way. And there you go. Networking on the BJJ mats. That's true. There's definitely lots of guys talking on the mats. I have no deals from my BJJ gym yet. So if you're listening, guys. Oh, look at that. Retracted message. What does that mean? It means somebody's probably swearing at me. I have been looking for a +2 condo near Commercial Drive in Vancouver. Prices have dropped a bit, but people don't want to sell in this market. Low amount of new listings in the past weeks. There's definitely going to be areas that do not have a lot of inventory coming. I don't believe commercial's necessarily a super high dense area, Commercial Drive. But yeah, the reality is, even in this market, there's a whole lot of sellers that don't want to drop their price and refuse to drop their price. So just because the market's down doesn't mean the seller has to give you their property for a price you want to pay. So there's a lot of sellers that are going to hang on. And it's not as bad as you think. It's not as bad as they say. It's, you've got these people that bought in 22 and they paid a premium and now they're closing or not closing and walking away from deposits. That loss has already happened. If you're buying today, you're not paying those 2022 prices. You're paying the today price. And, sellers that want to sell will sell, and sellers that don't want to sell and that they paid that 2022 price, some of them are selling at a loss, some are not. Planning a co Invest with our adult son and partner detached with walkout. For more September, October for more price drops. Is it worth waiting? So here's what we're seeing. So if you're investing, it says planning a co-invest. So if you're investing, it sounds like maybe if you're moving in with your adult son and partner and looking for a detached walkout, that maybe you're going to be living in the basement, or the family will be, or somebody will be. So that's different than an investment. I mean, there's downward pressure on pricing, that's for sure. Not as low as everybody thinks, not as low as buyers want it to be. So the longer you wait for the short term, yes, you're going to probably see lower prices over time. You'll get to a spot where, like, personally, I feel like the prices have already dropped. It's just that so many sellers are holding on to the old price. Let me explain what I mean by that. So let's say I think a house was worth, I did an evaluation. I was like, hey guys, your place is worth 1.25. And they go, no, I want to list for 1.4. Okay, so you put it on the market for 1.4, and the seller still thinks their place is worth 1.4, but we know it's worth 1.25. So it may take them 3, 4, 5, 6 months to come to the terms that it's worth 1.25. But even September compared to now, October compared to now, if they actually list it then at 1.25, it's probably going to be still 1.25. So I think we've already seen the drop. It's the seller's mindset that isn't there, and that's why they think they're losing money. So they think when they came on the market, they were going to get 1.4, and that over the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months, they've lost $150,000. They've already lost that money because they never had it, because they never sold for that much. So that's what I mean by that. I think the biggest drops are there. It's just waiting for the sellers that actually want to sell for the price. We are seeing offers. We're seeing offers on these properties like crazy. It's just more normal real estate and nothing like we've, I think now because things like my channel, our podcast, The Tom Story Show, other channels have become popular since about 2021. I think people think that this is what regular real estate is. It's not. I was very blessed in learning real estate. I got licensed in December 08, the stupidest time in the world ever, besides October 08 to get licensed. And thankfully, I went through 10 years, well, before 2021. I mean, let's talk about till 2015. So I went through 09, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I went through 7, 8, 9 years of learning what to do. And I didn't even think about talking to people publicly like this about it till I was 12 plus years in the business. So at that point in time, I feel like I know what the heck I'm talking about. And we're used to now, like, that's when the people joined the conversation, when the market was going crazy. And then they thought it was always like that. It wasn't always like that. We are now in a much more regular-ish market. 60 people out there. Has anyone clicked the like button yet? I don't think so, but I appreciate you all watching. And sorry, let me try and get back to this. This is very slow on my end. Sorry, I'm educated in Surrey. I take some time to explain myself, and I can't read words of crap. Can't spell either. I say I sell, I don't spell. How does the Vancouver Island market compare to White Rock? Not at all. We own a townhouse in West Beach area, retiring soon, thinking moving to Parksville area. Should we wait? What are you waiting for? So if you're waiting for prices to go down, sure, wait. If you're waiting for prices to go up, wait longer. So that's actually not far from my new studio here. Welcome. We're very close by. White Rock has definitely changed. White Rock has become, maybe not right down at the beach, but the city of White Rock is actually lower value than South Surrey, which everybody calls White Rock, but isn't White Rock. I would say the market on the island has substantially stayed better. I don't know necessarily about Victoria, but up island, it's all people leaving here, and here being I'm right close to you. People are leaving here, going to the island. So the island is definitely busier. You'll get more for your money the further north you go, but it is a different market. It is a different thing. And I would say it would be probably harder to sell here and harder to buy there than the other way around right now. But it, again, depends what you're going to. So if you want to know value, you want to book a call with me, do it, because White Rock is my area. I can help out there. If you don't already have a realtor, or if you're not already a realtor. What is your opinion on Kelowna real estate? James Roffel is in the comments. Ask him. Or my buddy Tyrell. Kelowna, we've had a lot of folks moving from. So the mass exodus is still happening, right? Like the mass exodus of people that grew up here in the Lower Mainland and is leaving is. I got a message from a realtor the other day, subject to sale on a property here in Surrey. And, what's it worth? I got another one today from a friend in Nova Scotia. Hey, I got a subject to sale offer from a place in Surrey. What's it worth? The amount of people leaving is large. Kelowna, though, is very interesting because it seems to be going through the same downturn as the Lower Mainland is. So it's kind of an extension of the Lower Mainland. I love Kelowna. I think it's great. They have their drug addicty problems, but most people I know that are moving to Kelowna aren't going downtown city core. They're going outskirts, Lake Country, maybe even up to Vernon. And they're going to get away. They're not necessarily... they're not going to live more of the same. So I love Kelowna. Did I just burp in the microphone? I think I did. BC has 12% of current CMHC rental stock. Cool. I wonder if there's 10 provinces. We got 12%. We're one of the more, that seems low maybe. Maybe it's not. I don't know. How much impact do you think China and the state of their economy, real estate has on Vancouver and Ontario? Definitely more on Vancouver, but that would be like a main Vancouver thing, like an actual Vancouver proper, Richmond possibly, because there's a greater Chinese communities there. My experience with Chinese national buyers pre foreign buyer ban, or most of them are immigrating to some level, has been that the ones that are bringing money here want a safe haven, so they don't really care. And they got a lot of money. So they'll buy something, and they'll sit on it, and they might leave it vacant, and they might not leave it vacant. Isn't it fun? Here's an interesting thought. I have this thought a lot. When we're here as Canadians and we see a foreign person come and say, okay, well, I'm going to buy that property and maybe leave it vacant, and it's going to be a vacation property or something like that, we demonize it. However, me as a Canadian looking at maybe buying a summer home or winter home, I guess you would call it, Snowbird something, Phoenix or Palm Springs or something, I don't villainize myself at all. I'm screwing up their economy just as bad as somebody else is screwing up my economy and my housing market. So I think I'm helping out by going down there in the winter and contributing to the economy. The folks coming from abroad probably feel the same way about here. So only other people are not foreign, I think is what I'm saying. I'm always not foreign. Does that make sense? I don't think that makes sense. Looking for a fixer in Pomo. Where's Pomo? Family of trades, 1990s, newer detached. You mean Poco? Poco? Would there be lots of demand for such a property? I mean, sure. If you're looking for any sort of fixer-upper, the BC NDP says, cool, hold my beer, here's your flipping tax. They want to try and get away from that. I have a property right now we're evaluating, and it would be perfect for somebody who wants to make money on that sort of thing. And it's going to not be that. So unfortunately, it's going to stay in very, very bad condition for a long time. And what do you do? Making money because of all the fees with real estate fees, particularly transfer taxes and all of the other fees, it's very hard to flip anything in BC anymore. So good luck. You got to count on, and it's also usually not your renovations that get you any profit. It's usually the market going up over time. So there's lots of, I saw a comment here on the channel the other day. Somebody was talking about their neighbor renovating to sell, and the renovation has taken so long that they should have just sold unrenovated previously. Probably true. We get lots less for our renovations than we think. Is it just me or all these Canadian agents, YouTubers, changing tune? They are leaning on the seller side. Yeah, no, it's not just you. That's what the market is. So let me give you an example. For 2 years, 3 years of starting my channel, it was, you guys are pumping the market. It's real estate agents' faults that prices are going up so high. If it's real estate agents' faults that the prices are going up so high, how come I can't keep them up high now? Because simply not the case. It's because there's two sides to the market, and you have to educate the people who need the help in the market. Does that make sense? So right now, it's sellers that need educated about how hard it is to sell and what they need to do to sell. When the market is hot, sellers need less of that education because all they got to do is stick a sign in the ground and their home will sell. So then you have to educate buyers. What does it take to win a multiple offer? Make sense? So you're educating whoever needs help or whichever way the market is going. It doesn't make sense to educate the easiest things to do possible. And it was too easy to sell your home for a long time. And we didn't have to tell people for a long time to make sure they hit the price right and what to do for a price reduction, because you went through 2 years of where you didn't need price reductions and every home sold within 6 days. So it doesn't make sense to be educating a seller on what they need to do a price reduction in a time of which there are no price reductions. So there are two sides to the coin. That is also the beauty of our industry. There's always two sides to it. So when you're working for your seller, you're doing absolutely everything you can to get them top dollar and sell for the most amount as possible. And when you're working for your buyer, you're doing absolutely everything you can in your power to get them the best deal possible. And sometimes the best deal possible may or may not be the highest price for either side. I have lots of sellers who will take less in order to get the right deal. I have lots of buyers who will pay more in order to get the right home. It's educating them through the process. There are lots, though, I guess I should keep my mouth shut about competition and YouTubers and people saying stuff. I'll just give you my opinion. How about that? I just clicked the like button. Everyone should do what you're doing. What is it? The Sharona? The Sharona? Is that right? Hopefully I said it right. You click the like button. James Ruffle gives a wave. What do you consider a low ball offer currently? How low from the average listed price? Listed price means nothing for a low ball offer. That's my opinion. A low ball offer means how far out of value is it? So I do an evaluation, and if I think your offer coming in is lower than where market value is, that is a low ball offer. It is nothing to do with list price. List price means absolutely zero. What list price is it's an indication to the buyer of approximately what the seller wants, and it will then often, if it's too high, disqualify you from even being interested in going to see the property because you're just thinking the seller's crazy. Also, the other way around, if it's artificially priced low, the property, it will invite many, many, many buyers, and then they will also think they stand a chance at getting it for that price, of which you can still go into multiple offers. There's still plenty of that going on where you'll see an offer come in. I mean, like I said, we're just considering doing it here with a listing right now where the property's in such terrible shape. We're going to list it where we know there will be multiple offers, even in this market, and the home will sell. The question is, what value does the buyer see? They will come with the offer and let us know. So a % off the listing price. So this is the uneducated portion. The buyer will go, well, I came in here, they're asking this, I want to meet in the middle. The seller may even say that too. Well, they came up this much, I came down this much. You can think that's value, but that's not value. That's reasoning in your head of why you should get it for a certain price. That doesn't mean that's market value. I hope that helps. Probably doesn't, but I saw somebody give me a heart. So let's see if we can get more than one heart. 65 people currently watching. I feel like if I had a room of 65 people, that would feel overwhelming, but also online, it's only 65 people, and it's not more. Property assessments in Vancouver have increased in 2025 compared to 2024. Not in my house in Surrey. How are actual selling prices compared to these new assessment values? So I can't comment. I don't do a ton in Vancouver. I only do 2 or 3 transactions a year in Vancouver proper itself. I saw lots of people's in the Lower Mainland go up this year, and my personally went down a lot. This is probably a video I should do sometime that I've never done. Your assessed value is a stamped period of time. So your assessed value that came in this last January was for previous July 1st value as estimated by a government that wants to tax you and has never been in your home. So they stamp. So if values are going down, that's a year ago pricing, if they were accurate at that time, of which they probably were not. So I'll give you an example. In Surrey right now, detached homes, almost everything I'm seeing selling is selling 6 figures under assessed. Doesn't mean that that's accurate either, because I don't know about you, but the government has never come into my home to find out what renovations I've done, or if I've maintained my roof, or if I've added a bathroom, or what I've done. They have no idea. They may be able to go off of permits at the city, but that's it. So it's not an accurate representation. It is only a stamp in time of a guesstimate of how much taxes they want to get out of you. I think I'm the lucky guy this year because mine went down. A lot of my neighborhood went up, so therefore I pay less taxes. So it's not actually your assessment going up. It's the variation between your assessment and somebody else's assessment changing, which tells if you pay more or less taxes. Taxes are always going up either way. Assessment value goes down, property taxes go up. Oh, what else we got here? How long have we been going here? Somebody type in how long this has been, because I don't know. Whoa, no, I started at 52:15 and we're still going. Where did I leave off here? How is Tom's story? I spoke to him today. We recorded an episode of the Tom Story show today. He is great. No, I missed a bunch of people. Tom's story is great. I love you, Tom, if you're listening. I also love you, James Ruffle, because you're still here. I don't actually know James that well. I just know him because somebody comments on his channel, comments on mine all that well. We've chatted a few times. Where did I go? Steve, how long do you think until they bring back foreign investors for condo pre-builds? Seems like it's needed to build anything. I agree with you. I don't think they should bring back foreign investors. I think they should bring in a program of which, if you want to immigrate to Canada, you may, as part of your, you know how we used to have the point system, and then they kind of tossed that out and just said, hey, anybody can come. That wasn't a very good thing to do. So why not, as a path to your citizenship or to your permanent residency, you putting money down for a new construction would make a lot of sense, because then you're funding a place of which you can come to when it completes in 3, 4, 5 years from now. Does that make sense? So you're adding people, and then you're adding your new home starts to the amount of people. Not necessarily exactly correlating, but maybe that can then count as points towards your immigration, of which you may be lacking for points and you may be turned away. Except we've, for some reason, obliterated our points system. So I would love not just random investors, but I would love to see it where it's tied to foreigners that want to come here. And then that way they're contributing in advance of coming here, and they have a place to stay when they get here. Give that idea to the government. Somebody message the new housing minister, whoever that is, and let them know. They can take credit for it. I'm almost out of coffee. I think that the foreign buyers thing will quietly be removed federally. And I don't think our government in BC is smart enough to remove the foreign buyers tax, because they think tax is the answer to everything. And they don't realize that people just leave when there's too much tax, and they don't invest. And then you end up with a communist state. Not to share with my political opinions too much, but that's where we'll end up. Vacant land assessment value is $2.6 million on court-ordered sale. Ooh, nice. At Cloverdale near Highway 15 and 40th Ave. How much should it be offered? I have no idea. I would have to look at it. A1, so it's agricultural. PREB, unfortunately, I am not an agricultural specialist. I know the area very well. You would want to talk to one of those like BC farm guys or something like that to try and get a value on that. Great question. When it goes to court, so I'm doing more court sales now. Ooh, court sale talk. This is fun. I actually have a piece of paper of which I'm doing a video soon about the new court sale process, of which is going to be the old court sale process, but I'll have to update everybody on my channel about that. Court sales, in my estimation, it's vacant land. It's probably not a big deal. But if you're buying a property right now that's vacant land or that's court sale, people think they're going to get a deal. They go to court and then they always bid up. Court sales do not get you a deal. They do not. They just give you risk. People want them because they think they're cool and they think you're getting a deal. You're not getting a deal. You're going to get bid up at court. You're going to take on a property that's got a whole bunch of risk. And I went through one this last year that was just the buyer. Thankfully, I represented the bank, not the buyer. But the buyer got a real wake-up call when they realized that risk applies. And it was one of those bad situations. So I avoid court sales unless there's something special. A tip that I would say for court sale is if you get your offer accepted, don't go to court, because then it's just an open bidding nightmare not even open bid. I guess it's seal bid now, but it's just a bidding nightmare and somebody's going to pay too much because they're going to get emotional. I think it's a bad idea. Stay away. That's me. I'm very conservative though. With my money, I wouldn't gamble in that way. Oh, Pomo meant Port Moody. I've never heard Pomo before, but I like it. Do you think home prices in Canada will continue falling this year, next year? Yes, I do think they will, but those decreases will be in BC and Ontario, and they will not be anywhere else because those prices are all going up. The reason that home prices average nationally is coming down is because most of the transactions are happening within those two provinces, and those provinces are coming down. So yes, I think we'll continue to see downward pressure. Would it stop me from buying? No, it might actually encourage me to upsize, which I would love to do right now. I don't think it's the right time for me, just family stuff, whatever, but I'm getting the itch, right? I've been in my current house for 12 years. Time to start thinking. Not be a flip, just added value long term. Yeah. So that was referring back to the fixer upper. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to be somewhere, fix up a place, make it nice, have some pride. How about not value? How about pride in where you live? Can we bring that back at all? Not a lot of that happening right now. I'm going past just houses with 4-foot lawns in the front and cars parked on the lawn, and it's driving me crazy. Not a lot of people taking a lot of pride. Particularly, I'm going to crap on you here, guys, and I'm sorry, but renters, man, take some more pride in other people's property. It's still your house that you're living in, even if it's a rental. Do you think we have a housing supply shortage in Vancouver? Yes, we absolutely have a housing supply shortage in Vancouver and in Toronto. If we didn't, then prices would be back down to where they were pre-COVID, and we're still up like 30% in a lot of places. And it's going to get even worse if our immigration numbers skyrocket again in a few years and we have nothing going on. So yes, we have a housing shortage. We definitely have an affordable housing shortage. But what does that shortage mean? Well, to me, that shortage means I will say we don't have a housing shortage when I stop getting applications for my rentals of 6 and 7 people for a place that's built for 1 to 2 people. That's when I'll say we have a housing shortage. So there's lots available if people can afford them, but they can't afford them, and they still want to live here for the most part. So love the new studio. Thank you. So do I. Did I give you a tour? Were you here for the tour earlier? The cat made it. The cat's actually making an appearance in some things over the next little bit. Man, I am a slow reader. My house is on the market for 2 months. 200K below market detached bungalow in Pickering. Cannot. So I can't talk to you about, well, you're in Ontario. You're not in my market. You're in Pickering. Cannot get any offers. If you're 200K below market and you have no offers, you are above market. Talk to your agent. If you need a new agent and your contract expires, reach out to me. I'll connect you with people I know in Pickering. This is probably commenting on that person. If you're not getting showings and offers, then you're likely still priced high, unfortunately. That is true. In my opinion, is that what IMO means? I don't know. I am 45 years old now. I don't know all these kids saying. Only a completely financially illiterate nitwit would be buying real estate at this pre-crash juncture. Might as well just burn good money. Well, Michael, I would say that you might be the nitwit. I mean that in the nicest way possible. Pre-crash, I don't know how we can be pre-crash when the downfall from the market actually coming down 30% happened in 2022. Let me give you an example of why. So we've seen a massive downturn, and we're continuing now to see a slide. We saw the crash. It happened in 2022. Now we're seeing this like slide down. Everyone always thinks there's going to be a crash. Always. And you know what? Most of the time they're wrong. Sometimes they're right. Broken clock, as they say. But I know a couple of things. I know that rent is 100% interest. And you can try and do all sorts of wonderful things with your, I'm going to put this in the S&P and I'm going to rent and all day. Yeah, cool. Here's the goal. Here's where I think the goal should be for anybody that's buying real estate. I think the goal should be, can I own an asset that is paid off by the time I retire, and therefore I cannot have any shelter asset or shelter expense for myself in my retirement? Or if I'm buying an investment property, can that property pay for my retirement? Those are I'm not looking for appreciation. It is amazing. So I'll get comments like this now, but then when prices are going up, everybody's eager to toss their money in. Why? Because by the time they complete in 3 months, they're worth even more. Silly. These are the types of times that people will look back on and go, I should have bought more then. That's what we're living in right now. And that may go on for another 3 or 4 or 5 years. But that's the type of market we're in now. We're in one of those markets where people are like, I really wish I should have done something then. Are we going to see the bull run of 2020, 2021 again? No. I hope not anyway, not unless we do something silly like get super low interest rates again. The bank still wants their money. They do. The bank is always going to get. So here's one thing that will likely happen. You will get incomes will go up, and then your GDS TDS will be still 39% of your income, and then therefore eventually affordability will restore. That's how it works. That's what happened. Affordability was way worse in 1991 than it is now. Prices were $200,000, but affordability was terrible. Ooh, I just jumped on. My realtor and my father-in-law both said court sales are messy and not the deal you think they are. That is true. So my realtor and my father-in-law, are they both the same person? Usually. I wonder if I'm going to be the realtor for my kids' spouses one day. Hopefully when they're getting married, not divorced. Should I wait to buy a property or no? You should talk to your agent and see what is right for you. Should you buy a property? Of course you should be a property owner. I will not give you advice here because I don't know your situation. It's not that cut and dry. Should you buy a property? Of course you should own a property. Should you buy it now? I'm not making that decision for you. Does average price filter out competing new construction? Deals that were potentially done 3 to 5 years ago are just completing. Hang on, let me try and understand this. Does average price filter out completing new construction? Average price is the firm deals now of resale because developers don't share their off-market deals. So it has nothing to do with price. It has price to do when the transaction is done, not when the transaction is completed. So I would say it does filter out completing new construction because that's previous. If there was a way to track that, what would that look like? So you'd have to be at land titles and you'd have to look at the amount of prices being paid that would adjust for pre-sale. If that makes sense. I don't think it does. Excellent idea, Steve, about your new immigrants buying pre-sales. I agree. It wasn't my idea, but I will take credit for it. Do you think buying a townhouse is a better investment than buying a condo for the long run? Depends what your metric of success is. If I had a choice right now, I would definitely prefer a townhouse as my next investment property, a small townhouse, over a condo. But I wouldn't hesitate to buy a condo. I do have some interesting videos coming up here on the channel, by the way, just so you know. I will have one coming up about strata fees, which I think everybody should comment on and like, just like this video right now, and subscribe. And then I also have one coming up about strata windups, which is a big misnomer out there. People are thinking strata windups are different than they are, and they are not. Strata windups are extremely difficult. Should I be looking this way? If I do, I can't read this way. I wish I had like a phone call. People call in and ask questions. Ironic to have an increase in inventory saying that there is a shortage. Everyone wants a nice place in a prime location, and then we whine. It is ironic. So here, think about this. We do have a shortage. We have mass completions coming to both Vancouver, Surrey, Toronto, Southern Ontario. We have mass completions coming. So that's going to be mostly in the tiny apartment space of which not a lot of people want to live. So rents will come down, and then we will continue to build nothing new from 2027 onwards. So we know there's another shortage coming, and we're doing nothing and unable to do anything about it for the future. And then we also need to consider that not nobody, stop making general statements, Steve, that most people don't want to live in micro units. I've been swearing about micro units since 2012 when I heard the first 283 square foot unit get built in Wally. And I was like, this is stupid. But that's what's being built. Personally, I don't think the way out of the housing crisis is 45-story high rises. I think it is much more livable low rise, let's say 4-story, 3-bedroom, 1,000 square foot units where you could actually have a family and then start spreading them out. Now, Vancouver, it's very hard to spread out because we got mountains and borders and water. In Ontario, I know they say they can't spread out because they've got the agricultural land reserve. Get rid of that thing, I guess. I don't know. Like, do we need farms? Sure. Absolutely, we need farms. It's a false border, though. You could build there if you wanted to. That being said, I know nothing about farming, so consider that. Maybe it's the only place you can build. But I mean, when you get to Ontario, they just have what feels like flat land forever, and everywhere else except for BC in Canada feels like the same. So I think more dense building could be built in less dense areas. But why do we need 45 stories? I don't know. I am losing my space. Would you still buy your investment condo in today's environment? Would I still buy my investment condo in today's environment? What a good question. At today's prices, probably yes. At 2022, 23 prices, definitely not. I struggle with always the idea of selling it because then I can just cash in, take that money and go move on and do something else with it. But then I know that I would kick myself 10, 15 years down the road should I sell that now. So it is long-term. When I bought my investment property, first of all, I knew the market was going to take off. I had a conversation with one of my realtors, one of friend and realtor that helped me sell property in the past, and as well as the legend himself, Tom Story. And I was just like, the market's going to take off, and it turned out to be very, very right. But my thought was that property was going to go. I bought it for $65. I thought that property was going to be worth $680 in 10 to 15 years. That was my calculation. And then it was worth $680 within a year, which is crazy to me. And now they're probably come down to like below 600,000. So they've could have sold, probably should have sold short term. But relatively, my plan was from 2021, I was looking at 2031 to 2036. And then what would I do from there? That's the long-term horizon that we're talking about. So that's what you should be looking at. Would I buy it today? No, I think I would lean heavier towards a 2-bed, 2-bath townhouse in a little bit more of a different area. I've got enough real estate in Cloverdale. I don't want any more. Maybe some parts of Cloverdale. Have you thought about selling it? I always think about selling it. I just don't know that. Hey, I answered your question. When you're renting out an investment property, are you truly retired? I mean, if your version of retirement is, then I guess not. Are you ever truly retired? Come on, you got to cut the grass. You got to. If you think retirement is hitting a finish line and waiting for the grave, I guess not. Will interest rates go up? I believe fixed rates will go up because the bond yields are having issues and all this government spending and all that. I think we're going to have some issues. I think likely I was hoping that the overnight rate would come down another 1 or 2 times. I'm thinking that's less and less and less likely, and that's going to cause some issues. However, there's a future video that will be coming. Now we're deep enough in this that I can probably say it again later. I do think we need to stop the lie of rates coming down means better for real estate. Real estate agents need to stop saying that. Rates coming down means economy bad, which means real estate not doing well. So if we end up with, usually what happens is 6 to 9 months after the last rate cut is when the market stabilizes. So if indeed we continue to not see rate cuts, that's actually a good thing for real estate prices and probably the overall economy. James, you can't make me talk at 1.5 speed. If anything, I talk at 0.5 speed on live streams because I'm trying to read and talk at the same time, not one of my strong suits. Variable rate, maybe, yeah, fixed rates moving. You can, James, just rewind a few seconds. Okay, yeah. All the realtors named James in the comments are trash talking me here. Okay, I guess I should probably read a couple more of these, so I'll give you a couple seconds. I think we're an hour in now. I just wanted to get this out because I only had one video out this week. So get your comments in. I'll try and run through them here, but then I'm going to pack up. And I have a bunch of possessions I got to go do out as far as Hope and Chilliwack tomorrow. So I'm going to go do those. And I couldn't get a second video out for the week. So that's why I wanted to do this. I don't know if you noticed, but I totally screwed up a live stream yesterday that I tried to do. And then I just gave up on it. 100. Does that mean 100? I agree, or 100%? I still don't know what that 100 means. Does it mean like 300, like the movie? I don't know. Maybe if there's 3 of them. Pride in our homes. Do you find that is lacking? Yes, I do find that it is lacking. You clearly have pride in your studio. Thank you for, let me, look at this wonderful studio. My brother came and actually hung these for me. Nice. Sound panels. You should see this side. It's actually really cool. Yes, I do think pride in ownership is not what it was. There's not a lot of people that want nice green grass or cut grass or painted houses or care what the aesthetics of their home look like anymore. It is a massive issue, and it causes these homes to really sell for less in down markets like this one. In an up market, when everything's flying off the shelves, you can sell a 3 and it's no problem. You can even overprice it. In a market like this one, 10 out of 10 is still extremely desirable, and the crap properties, of which are 8 or more of the 10 that are out there, are really, really hard to sell. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's people don't have the money anymore. I don't know if it's because a lot of people are coming from other places where they don't have the same value in real estate, or just pride of ownership of their real estate. I don't know what it is, but it is a massive issue. I will say it has been a thing my whole career where I'll walk into people's places and I'll just 3 or 4 out of 10 people, unfortunately, which means a bunch of you listening right now because there's 72 people listening, a lot of them live filthy, absolutely disgustingly filthy. That's one thing if you're going to do that every single day. It's another thing if you think somebody's going to pay you top dollar for your house while it's filthy. So, and then you also have sad stories too, right? You have people that have mental illness, or you'll have seniors that can't really clean up after themselves anymore. So it's a real mix, but it is enlightening when you're in and out of other people's homes every single day to see the condition that they're in. And then the people that think they're going to sell for this price or that. It is interesting. Okay, let's wrap it up here. We have bought our townhouse 2 years ago when prices were high, 2022. That's 3 years ago. We are confused. Should we book a condo for retirement so we can generate some income? If you're having trouble, well, if you're paying your bills, great. I say pay down your principal residence as much as you can. That's what I would do. That's what I do. Haha, I said it. Pay down your principal because that's the best tax-free to move up in the future. How are tariffs impacting the condo development? I don't believe they are yet. I will say I think this is hilarious, and they are about to. And guess who is causing the biggest trouble? I'll say this political statement before I go. I find it disgraceful how just this week the federal government brought in their own tariffs because they are worried about cheap foreign steel ruining our steel market, which sounds a whole lot like the reason that the states were bringing in tariffs, except our news coverage here in Canada on particularly CTV, which I saw the report and I saved it in my phone, but other news reports as well are not calling them tariffs. They're calling them measures to support Canadians. So hypocrisy is crazy. And I do think that steel tariffs on foreign steel will cause Western Canadian, in particular, house prices or condo prices, building prices to go up dramatically should they stay in long term. And it's disgraceful that we can say another country shouldn't tariff us, and then we're going to go tariff a bunch of countries. I think it's gross. Oh, and then this is a perfect way to wrap it up. You can't own land. You own a perpetual license granted to you by the government, actually by the Queen or the King, I guess now, to use the plot of land. They can always take it away. You're right. Sure. And guess what? You can never own anything because you're going to have to give it back when you're in the ground. So in that respect, I guess just what are you going to do? You don't own anything. I don't own this pen right now because one day I'm not going to be here. Silly comment. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. I'm going to go. Click the like button, subscribe. I appreciate everybody enjoying my new perspective in looking at you for these live streams in the future. Enjoy. Get out there if you need anything in the real estate market. Enjoy the rest of summer and then come back in the fall. Book a call with me using the link in the description below. See ya.